2023 Mapleton School District number 32 school board meeting. We are shorthanded tonight, and Mizu and Andrea will not be joining us. They're at the Triangle Lake game. And Mary won't be here until 7. So we're not going to do any action items until we get Mary here. We're going to spend this first hour in reports. Our mission is to provide, are we recording yet? Jared? Okay, cool. And we are streaming as well, or no? Fantastic. Our mission is to provide a safe learning environment where all students are encouraged and empowered to reach their educational and personal potential. We strive to base all of our decisions on what is best for students. If we could insert the word all in between where and students, that would be great. Reviewing the agenda, any new items that need to be put on there, or are we moving anything around?
You know what, Jaren, track coach, does that need to go on?
It could. I mean, in the past, we never did coach contracts. I don't know.
Oh, I think it should be there. If you got a track coach to talk about, let's talk about the track coach. And I mean, we're hiring a track coach. Is that correct?
Yeah, in the hiring section. So I think we usually do that as action, so we can add that in there.
All right. How are you feeling, Sue? I know you're under the weather.
Yeah, just anybody watching the stream, we switched to online. I feel good enough, but tested positive for COVID, so I'm trying to avoid spreading that. And Brenda's actually homesick and doing much worse than me, but is not positive for COVID at this point. So we're doing the bug thing that is, they continue to go around, and we're all taking our turns, unfortunately.
Well, we're sending you good juice to get better, and thanks for showing up. I know you could probably use the rest, and we'll try to keep this fairly short so you can go back to bed.
I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Public comment. Is there any public comment, Jaren?
No.
No. Thank you. District reports. Let's go with the middle school, high school report.
All right, and I have a whole list here. I'm going to be elementary, and I wove facilities into here too, so it'll hit a bunch of different things. I'll just start at the top of this list. Let's see. I wrote my list in terms of superintendent, then middle school, high school, then preschool, and then elementary. Does that work for that order?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll just start at the top here. So one of the initiatives we pursued post-water crisis. Crisis seems like maybe it's the right word, but we did approve digging a large hole, a deep hole maybe is the right word, to see if we could hit water and have a well on our campus, both to support our district in needs of water, but also to support the community. We dug that. I don't even, you can tell wells aren't my background, but we dug the hole and did find water. My information on it for people who know more about wells than I do, 340 feet. The static level is 45 feet, anticipating around 20 gallons per minute currently. And Randy reports he's working with Kevin Kimball, Neil Lee, and Oregon Water. I put OWS. I think it's Oregon Water Services. On identification of pump and next steps now that we know we have water, and determining those costs. I'm also meeting with somebody from Willamette Partnership tomorrow who provides technical assistance and has access to folks who have water to support rural areas with initiatives like this. So we're kind of figuring out those next steps in order to move towards finalizing that project. And I'll report back once we have those meetings and figure out next steps on where we're headed. Some other pieces here. Another interesting development, fun project development in terms of facilities and partnerships. Connected Lane County, who operates out of Eugene, but serves all 16 districts in the county, and with a lot of different programming, some of which that Mapleton has participated in, connecting students to business and industry opportunities. They have a program called Accelerator that is 12-week programs connecting young adults, students and young adults to industries. And we're looking for an opportunity in our area in Florence to connect to the culinary industry to fill high needs positions. And we have agreed to be the host for that space, and they are going to take on the cost of creating renovating 2 rooms in the middle school building and creating a commercial kitchen that programming can operate out of. And we're excited because not only will that be an opportunity for our students in our community, but also a chance to share resources and utilize that kitchen and convening space to serve our community. So lots of details to still come, but they're hoping to start renovations in mid-May for opening in September. Friday, which not tomorrow, but in 2 days. Michelle, I saw you unmuted. Did you want to ask a question there? Pause me anytime. Yep.
Well, actually, I just wanted to mention that for the public's interest, that the board held a special meeting to discuss this new project, and we have all agreed that this is a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Mary Ellen? Oh, you're muted.
When you say young adult, so is there an age range? I can't remember, and it might be good to mention it anyway.
Yeah, I believe it's like 16 through 24 is the focus of that particular program. So some of the funding comes for students like through 21 and some through 24. So ultimately the program will go through 24. Let's see. Friday we're convening some partners led by the Watershed Council to pursue and continue discussions around farm to table opportunities and maker and creative spaces, and lots of conversations are happening in pockets, and so Friday's the opportunity to bring some of those together. So I'm excited. Those things are happening. Another we just scheduled it, I believe, April 7th. Will be another set of partners to come together and talk about connections for community health resources is how I'll say it right now. There's a model for training, I'll say, students and young adults again to be peer support specialists, community health workers. There's different models happening in different spaces. And then I'll be really honest, I would love a community-based health center operating. So keep talking about ideas and see where they go. A whole lot of people responded for that April 7th meeting throughout today. I just landed that meeting yesterday on the calendar, and it was fun to see everybody replying today. Let's see, I have 2 more. Sorry, I'm trying to read my notes here. Another, we are raising money for a football scoreboard. For those of you who have been out to the games, it's not quite what it used to be in terms of operations, and Those are also not cheap. And just so people have a ballpark of how much those cost, it's in the like about $30,000. And we have some agreed sponsorships. Let's see if there's a program that's a $10,000 match if we raise $20,000, and then we have commitments 5, 6, 7, 8, I believe for 8,000 of that 20,000 right now, and that includes a recent donation by the Casino Foundation, or the Tribal Foundation, and in connection with the local tribe, Confederated Tribes of Tribe of Kusla, Umpqua, and Sayusla Indians. And through that conversation, I also proposed, it's a common practice, becoming more common practice, to put the flag of local tribes in the high school gymnasiums. And I, in this discussion,
Well, you're freezing up there, Sue. I'm not sure. It's the connection. You come in and out, and now you're completely out. Oh, there you are.
how about now? It's not telling me I'm unstable yet, but usually, there it goes. Okay. It should get better in a second here.
Okay.
All right, just pause me if that happens again. Unfortunately, that's a product of being home. So I'll be meeting with Teresa Spangler on Friday afternoon this week. So, and then we celebrated our first kickoff, re-kickoff of the Sforza Fair, and did that. Was that last Wednesday or the Wednesday before? I'm mixing weeks right now. But an exciting, we had the 2 home basketball games, and then all of the work representative of every age group in the 2 schools, and not just science and arts, but every subject area. And it was exciting to watch students get excited to show their family the work that they're proud of, and explain the learning happening in their classes. And then one more.
Wait, I was there, and I just have to say, fantastic, beautiful, uplifting. It was such a wonderful gathering. And I watched the students and their parents engaging with all this material and showing not only what they did, but look what my friend did. And then the newspaper was there, and it was just such a feeling of vitality in the school, besides the fact that there were those 2 games going on, which I think brought in more people. But it was just so wonderful to see that back. So respect and gratitude for the effort to the students and the staff.
Yeah, and kudos to all of our staff, and then specifically, let's see, Lou Burris, Stephanie Grijalva, and Kate Huber have organized that event for us. And the fun part is, my understanding is that it was a once-a-year event, and we are very committed to doing this twice a year. So this was the first version of it, and then in May, I don't have that exact date yet, but it's going to align with the senior awards recognition and incorporate some awards to showcasing our community and the learning happening in our classrooms. So I'll report that date when we get it.
Can that all happen in the gym? I mean, I think, of course, we had 2 basketball games. We couldn't do it in the gym. And I think having it in one space and just divided up in that big space it makes it feel more like a gallery to me.
Yeah, this first time was to kind of leverage the people coming onto campus and kind of grow interest. And there was a lot of conversation about setup and ways to do it moving forward. I will share this back to that team that's planning, but ultimately they get to make those decisions. So, And then I do have an event, and we'll get I just excuse me, landed the facility it for I believe the end of January. I'm forgetting the date, but
We missed what you said because you cut out.
man, it's one of these nights. It works all day and then everybody gets home. So is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a reschedule of a prior event. There was it wasn't me that was ill, but it seems like everybody else last time. But I just landed the facilitator who's helping out with this, and March 1st is a Wednesday evening, and it'll be the portrait of a graduate community engagement. We'll do food, have childcare available, and watch for flyers coming out like this week, this end of the week, for that event. And all of this input will support our development of a graduate portrait that hopefully people see like the systems we're building connected to learning, and you know, the way students showcase their learning will be aligned to this graduate portrait. And so we would love your voice in that process. So one other I actually forgot to write this on my notes, but we were awarded the Gear Up grant that helps support post-secondary college and career exploration with an emphasis on building a college-going culture, and just posted a position, I think maybe 2 days ago now, for a Gear Up coordinator / college and career counselor. And so please spread the word. We're excited to build some capacity around counseling services on our campus. So that's what I have under superintendent stuff. Some of this mixes together with other things. I never know quite how to put this in order. But for middle school, high school, we do have our basketball season is coming to an end, but we're in playoff season. The girls are at Triangle Lake at 7:00 tonight. The link to watch that game streamed is on our Facebook page, Mapleton Schools, and you can watch that stream tonight. And then the boys are home tomorrow night, and I'm forgetting if it's at 5:30 or 7, but it's tomorrow night. And then I believe it's 5:30, just to throw that out there, but I might be wrong. What else? On January 30th, we had a really interesting day to kick off the second semester, and it was a full day professional learning for our staff and students together, and the focus was on so let me back up. The ESD, Lane ESD team leads professional learning for adults across Lane County, and one of the areas is in social emotional learning, with focus on like the brain science of regulate, relate, reason, and understanding like your brain science and your emotional states and how to regulate in order to be able to be in a space of relating and then reasoning in order to be in a state of learning. And so I have a interest and belief that if that's important learning for our adults, and just as important for our students, and that learning side by side can make a difference in our systems. And so I kind of posed this to the team. We've heard that nobody across the nation, so that Lane ESD team partners with kind of a national consulting group, and brought that to them, and they were like, we're really interested in the idea, and we don't know of anybody else doing it. So I was like, well, let's try it in Mapleton. And we had positive feedback about the day from students, and some have shared things they've tried from learning in that space, and a lot of opportunity for their voice to inform kind of the spaces and ways that we work together and learn together have come out of that and will continue to come from that. And then we'll do another full day opportunity on March 2nd will be the follow-up. And then
And that was middle school, high school participating in that? Okay.
yeah. So students, and we have a structure that we implemented this year. I think I've mentioned it maybe in passing in meetings, but we call it houses. And so that's our kind of multi-grade structure that brings students from every grade level together into 3 houses. They'll think it's really important that you know those 3 houses are Pangolin, Green Gang, and Killer Rabbits, and they've worked together to build their identities and culture and have house competitions that are everything from like games
Lost you like 30 seconds ago. Yoo-hoo, you're frozen up.
How about now? I think it just
Good.
came back. How about now?
Mhm.
I have to go tell everybody to stop streaming in the house here.
That's exactly right.
I didn't think anybody was home, but they must be now. I don't know if you heard the name. Did you hear the names of the 3 houses? Okay. And so they have friendly competition, maybe they might say unfriendly competition between where they earn points for things like attendance, community building games. They decorated hallways before break, just some strong culture building, community building stuff. And then now we're starting to bring in some school programming into that space, including student voice opportunities in this professional learning. So tomorrow, I don't know if people are familiar, but prior to COVID, we had a part of the school culture community was something called environments, and it was opportunity for students to kind of beautify and improve the school campus and build that pride in there. And so tomorrow there's an environments day for the first time, and I'm going to forget the third activity, but there's a group that's like working to cut back some blackberries in an area. There's a group working to clean up and organize and continue to improve the industrial arts building. And there's a third, and then painting. Next time you're on campus, you should see some improvements to our parking lot in terms of painting that area. And those projects were things identified by our community in ways to beautify and improve our campus.
The other one was the shop, cleaning up the shop.
Yeah, that was the second one in there. So they're gonna keep moving towards. We're working to improve that building and clean it up so we can get some programming happening that we're excited about, including building a tiny home. So stay tuned. That's coming sooner and sooner. I always think it should have happened like months ago, and it's getting closer. And then we did have our awards ceremony this week and recognized students for their grades, their attendance, and their behavior. And lots of students recognized. I actually didn't, because I'm home, I don't have all my attendance data. I'll share that out to the board and on the next meeting, give an update. But we had a lot of students recognized for over 90% attendance. And so that was really exciting. And I'll get those numbers by grade level and kind of compare to previous years to see where we're at in terms of improving our regular attender rate. So I'll jump to preschool. We continue to provide supports and work to improve our preschool program. So a couple things that have happened since our last last meeting. I had alluded to maybe some creative use of space, and so there's a room next door to the preschool room where we were teaching 4th and 6th grade math when Dawn Chambers came over, and we have since moved her out of that room. Thank you, Dawn. And are working to make that space a Amber used the word, I loved it, a napateria. And the thought is that that space is for rest time and for eating meals. And it then creates, like, it helps with students knowing, okay, these are the activities that happen in these spaces, and we're not bringing in an activity on top of lunch and then moving into playtime next to nap time, or rest time, kind of thing. So that is newly being used and organized. And then we did shift. I think I reported on this last time. I can't remember if we had changed it at that point or not, but shifted our staffing to make sure Natalie was not riding the afternoon bus so that she would have time to plan with Amber, and increasing prep time. And then there was a question last time about ESD supports, and the ESD team was there and said, kind of, maybe, but and mentioned EC Cares, who we already had partnered with. But there is a new administrator at the ESD that has a strong background in it's the one with all the letters, and I'm not even gonna mess it up, but it's like the longest acronym in education is something about special education and preschool. And she has a background in that, and she came and did some observations, and has been meeting together, I think this week, together with Preschool Promise and with Amber and Brenda, to keep designing and figuring out supports for our kiddos in our classroom. I think that's all my notes there. And then lastly, elementary, Brenda sent me a couple updates. They had their successful field trip to the Umpqua Discovery Center. We were sharing the planning of that last month. 33 adults joined 85 students, and they visited the Discovery Center and then did an art project at the art studio in that small town right by that place that I'm forgetting. It starts with a G. I'm forgetting it right now.
Gardner,
that's it. Thank you. And then a shout out to our new PTO and booster club. They held their first fundraiser, which was a candygram for Valentine's Day. And their next meeting is, I believe, March 10th, and this will be their third meeting. And the group is growing. They're active on Facebook. If you want to get involved, Abby Kimball and Janine Halverson, I would say, are the probably easiest to get a hold of, and are helping lead that, but quite a few folks leading in that space. And they tabled at the Sforza Fair too, and were able to share and connect more parents and sell candygrams. We also, just to throw out there, we also had the library table at that event, and so encouraging students and families to get library cards for the local library. And I just put a Facebook post this week. If you know students, I guess, youth, little kids that are 0 to 4 years old, the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library provides books, a book a month from 0 to 4 years old, up to 60 books until their 5th birthday. And that is free to sign up for. I have a link on Facebook, but if you need help registering for that, you can contact our office and we'll help you get registered for that. And then I had one more. Oh, next week, on the 22nd from 5 to 6:30 p.m. will be the elementary family bingo night, and come play some bingo, win some prizes, and engage with our elementary community. That's all. I think that's all my updates.
Thanks. That's great. I had one question about when you mentioned the library. It reminded me that last year we had Honor Pazdral come and really help us with the elementary library, which is a really sweet place. That's where the Rolling Readers meet, and with all our kids. But I was curious as to what she was talking about, something at the high school, in the middle school, high school. What's the plan?
Great question. So this summer, this is a nice reminder to follow back up. So early, I want to say it was still summer, we met, we were doing some, what do you call it? There's a real name, circulation, where you take some things out of circulation and then get some more. And really looking at building out more selection in our support lab area. So it's a computer lab, support lab, study area, and then along the back wall there's books. And then we have also built out our classroom libraries, especially for our ELA middle school and high school classrooms. And so she came out, we did some work. I know, followed up with some circulation of those books, but I do need to follow back up. So this is a nice reminder. I just wrote a note to myself here.
Okay. I am aware that in many schools they're moving to classroom libraries, and that libraries are actually disappearing. And the holdup is usually funds, because it costs more to have books in every classroom. So I don't know if that's something that we're looking to in the future for the elementary and the high school, but I don't know. Maybe I'm a little old school. I have a love for rooms full of books, libraries.
I should show you what this side of my desk looks like. I like books too. The I would say at the elementary level, maintaining a school library is important, and we actually do one of the weekly rotations. So there's art. Oh my gosh, sorry, I'm blanking. Art, social emotional learning, and then library and computer lab. They go in and do like a rotation through there, and then the fourth day is extra literacy time in their classroom, and it fits the schedule really well to have that rotation through the library space, and to support book check-in, check-out, all of those things. The high school, that's harder to build in and staff. So I don't know if it's a preference either way, but I think when there's books in classrooms and routines, there's a routine that Dr. Kate uses called Book Love, that is students making recommendations about books they've read and showcasing some different choices in the classroom. Those are things that get built in at the secondary level, that I think having those choices in the classroom is a good approach, and it works. And I'll say, just for space, that's probably what's going to work best for us. We did a couple different, I'll say Dr. Kate went all in this summer on a fundraising opportunity on Donors Choose, and got that funded fully. And so it was a nice, robust way to start off the year, with a lot more choices of books for our students. And so we'll continue to pursue avenues like that for our students.
And for a note on the library, I don't know if you have seen the email.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and share. I forgot about that.
Yeah, last week we got notice that we were eligible for a grant through the state based on ESSER funds, because we're small and rural, or rural low income. We're in both categories, but it's up to $10,000, and so at the time it was just putting out saying if you were interested in receiving the grant. And that was it's due by February 28th. So we put in for that, and then I suppose once they see how many people are interested, they'll figure out how much money to go around. But that's a revitalization grant for school libraries.
Ooh, so that sounds great. Exciting.
Yeah.
And so when you say there's $10,000, that's the amount we could get, or that's what we get to share with everybody?
No, it's up to your district. Your school district is eligible to receive up to 10,000 to
Oh.
support your school libraries. So we'll see what
Yeah.
they do. So
All right, fantastic.
And the second we know that amount, Honor is going to be on our campus helping us spend it. So
Yeah.
perfect alignment there.
So when it's due at the end of February, when would we get our notice? When will we find out?
Yeah, we've filled it out. They haven't said. I didn't see. I don't remember seeing on there what the next step would be.
no, yeah, I figure. I mean, they're taking those notices of interest until the 28th, until the end of this month. So sometime after that, I could look and see if it has anything on their website real quick.
Well, I have it from fairly good sources that Honor is going to retire not so far into the future. So, and I mean, I'm sure whoever replaces her will be a wonderful person. If we can get her first, that's of course our that's our hope. She's just unstoppable and super focused, and she's just a great resource for us.
So on the website, yeah, it says, so April 15th, need to submit a spending plan and grant agreement. And then you have from April 15th of this year to June 30th of next year to spend the funds.
Oh, okay. So from June 30th, so we would know somewhere way before that, May.
My guess is, well, they said April they'll get grant agreements. My guess is we'll hear mid to late March.
Okay.
How much, and then be able to kind of start organizing towards ordering. And yeah, I mean, if it's $10,000, that's a lot of books for collections at our different spaces. So that's exciting.
Is it only for books?
It can be various approach. Yeah, it's to revitalize your library. Often tech is connected to there. I would say.
I mean, it says modernize furnishings, support professional development of library staff, diversify school library collections, and it does look like it is $10,000. You can request less than 10,000 if you don't want the full amount.
We want
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking of seating, comfortable places to hang with a book. That's great. That's exciting. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Jaron. I forgot that we were doing that, so this is exciting. And I'll connect. I'll connect and make sure Honor knows that is coming.
Cool. So. Mary Ellen, you have anything more to question? Nothing. Okay. We can move on to our finance tech maintenance report documentation.
The auditors sent the state a copy of the audit. They didn't send me anything, but the state sent me it so I could submit the report I needed to. That's kind of a preliminary thing. They just send something to the state, to ODE, so that we can keep getting money. So we should see our state school fund this month, I think. And just looking at the expenses for this month, well, last month. Go over these things while we're dilly-dallying on waiting for Mary to figure them. Let's see. So some of the expenditures to note: Bell's power equipment. That was our new mower that I mentioned last time.
Mm-hmm.
So 21,000. I mean, it's a nice mower. Bridgeway House, gonna start seeing that probably every month. Sped student over that we have taken to Eugene. Life Touch, that's the yearbook. Amazon, we had about 2,000 in expenditures on things for the preschool. Central Lincoln, Duval land maintenance, 14,000. That was for the fencing for the preschool. FM sheet metal, about $6,000. They were working on the HVAC units again. Replaced all the thermostats. They're going to come back and do some work on the elementary ones, replace the thermostats over there, and put in the linking thing so that we can view it online since the old system is no longer supported. And territorial sports, that's for the elementary, some basketball registration.
Oh, that reminded me of something I didn't tell you guys, but the girls' middle school team qualified for the state tournament and will be competing out in Redmond at I believe it's the first weekend of March. I might be off on the date there, but that's an exciting celebration. And I'll say the multiple grade levels, boys and girls, all the way down to third grade, I believe, are playing through territorial sports, but organized in ways that we have teams kind of feeding a system up to middle school and then high school.
Great.
So that's what we have on finance, tech, working on some sensors. I don't know if you want to speak to them or if we just don't bother mentioning them. Sue.
Mentioning what?
Oh, the sensors. So I can share. So we do have like unfortunately all middle school, high schools, vaping is a reality, and we are working to interrupt that reality for our students in a multitude of ways. And one of those includes there are vape sensors that can go in bathrooms. They sense in a different way than a fire alarm, right? And we just ordered, what's the word I want? We just received those. And Jaren's working on a plan for installation in 6 of our bathroom spaces. And then related to that, we've partnered with Lane County Public Health for curriculum, embedded it into our health classes. Students who are caught using or even pointed to as potential users, we've polled and we've talked to families and parents, and then visited the local store where we heard some were getting, we heard purchased and then stolen, and they have moved where they're placed and increased their kind of vigilance. And so actually shout out to the owners of Randy's who have been absolutely great in helping support and keep our students making good choices and healthy. So that is something that we continue to work on.
Yeah, so hoping to get those installed next week. Just have to figure out the bathrooms are 10 feet tall, and these are the ideal location for them is 8 feet, and so need to get them 2 feet down off the ceiling, and run network cabling around since they hook into the network. And these ones, they're called Halo, and they do a number of things, a number of other sensors. So supposedly, if someone's in there trashing the bathroom, it'll alert you if somebody's using the keyword. So it has microphone sensor and computerized stuff. Somebody mentions, hey, I'm going to kill you or something, should alert, and elevated voices, someone arguing, yelling at each other or something should alert. I don't know if it, but yeah, so does a few things other than just sense and vape. I mean, they aren't cheap. None of the ones I saw.
Do they record information?
That was my
No.
that was my question before I approved it. No
Yeah.
recording.
I mean, I just had that privacy issue seem to be, but it just alerts to loud noises, or is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has smart computer stuff that it talks to, I suppose, and determines what the alert on. So.
Okay. All right.
And
I should make clear there's no video attached to it. There's no
Yeah.
audio recording, and there's absolutely no video attached to it either. So hopefully that helps. So those were my exact questions when I heard about it.
Mhm.
And they've used them. I actually didn't know these existed and was talking to leadership at Sayusla High School, and they had dealt with similar issues and recommended actually a different product we ended up going with, but had recommended these as they existed, and so we started researching.
Okay. Well, thanks. Hopefully we can get a grip on this one. It's a national problem. It's probably an international problem.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, let's see, maybe we can go to our discussion items. Can we just skip our consent agenda and our action items? We can go to the discussion items, the Mapleton Pool building.
Yeah, and somewhere I update. I think maybe that didn't make it into the actual agenda. I apologize, but my goal was to update that into like all three of our buildings and things that are moving forward. I don't have any pool updates, but I guess just sharing, we want to be using all of our spaces and be improving all of our spaces, and we'll continue to seek out grants and partnerships to get the capital money to keep doing it. The pool building will be the hardest to do. So we'll start with a focus on the middle school and industrial arts building, but we have our ears open for opportunities for the pool building as well.
So I just have to say that I think the pool building is our greatest priority and our largest liability, and it continues to degrade as it sits there in the weather. It just seems to me like we keep kind of shoving it off, but we can't do that. I just don't think it's prudent unless we want to just tear it to the ground. We have got a liability with that structure.
Yeah. Oh, I can share connected. So maybe a step forward. There are 3 there's actually 4, but I put in for 3 statewide grants. They're called TAP. I think it's called Technical Assistance Program. One is asbestos assessments. One is facilities assessments, and one is seismic assessments. The fourth one is long range planning, which we did in 2016 or 7. No, maybe even later than that, 2018. And so we have a strong plan. I didn't think we needed to do another long range facilities plan at this point. And those are I think they're all for $25,000. One might be like 30. Due February 15th. Is that today? And we would hear back by March 15th. And then be able to bring in folks. And this is technical assistance, not doing the work, but figuring out what needs to be done and kind of first steps in addressing things. We do have a pretty strong report for that pool building through the architectural company that the SRAC commissioned. I don't know the right word there. But I think taking that report and then doing an assessment and saying, okay, so if you were going to do one thing, what is it? and where do we start? The other thing Jaren and I met with PACE today that does risk assessment, and we're scheduling a time to come out in the next 30 days and walk those 3 buildings and kind of talk through what needs to be done right away. So it's the technical side of steps forward on that. A lot of those changes, especially for that pool building, are in the high dollar range, and so figuring out how we move forward on that and seek funding. So we'll keep exploring all those avenues.
I'm not comforted.
That's fair.
To say,
That's fair.
It's really, I mean, I went and looked at it myself, and I'm like, looks like nobody's home. We have to, I had this thought, this thing is going to come crashing down. We're just going to start over. If we don't get on it quick, we really will be in a world of hurt. I know enough about building to know that is not good. So, we can talk about it with the full board next month. But we're behind the 8 ball here, and we're going to have to cough up or I don't know what. I really don't know, but I am not comforted by incremental slow. We've been incrementally slow over years now, and actually it's just not very responsible.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's on the board, really. I mean, we just have to take action.
I don't disagree, and it's a significant. If the money was sitting there, we'd do it. You know what I mean? Like that one is the most expensive, and we're gonna have to get creative about how we take action quickly. So.
All right. Community engagement and committee updates.
Yeah, so I shared the March 1st, so the 22nd and the March 1st dates bingo, and then the grad portrait. And then March 10th is our next district PD day. And in that afternoon, I'm going to pull some, start with a leadership committee to finalize the integrated planning efforts, and then use that as a launch into the 4 engagement groups, or not, sorry, wrong word, 4 committees that we need to launch. So I've talked about those. The time is now, and some of it is just getting started in a new space, figuring out how to organize that. And really it's when is our biggest issue. In a 4-day school week, I don't love having our regular committees be on Fridays. That limits that's a barrier to participation by our faculty. And so still fine-tuning and figuring out that plan, but we will get those launched.
All right. State testing. Well, we have moved this subject to the March meeting due to our board members not being available tonight. So we will discuss this. We'll have a presentation, and we will vote on how to move forward. And thank you, Mary Ellen, for augmenting and editing the resolution. I think it's helpful. Appreciate it. Tribal and shared history. Oh, by the way, that was one of the highlights of the Sephoris affair, was talking to Ramil about the project to put up plaques or labels of common items at our school in Sayusla. And it's actually not Sayusla. He taught me how to say it. It's Shayusla.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that it's an incredible project, and really being done in super thoughtful ways that include voice of our whole community into our whole student community right now. Anna Helms came out and taught the sound chart for the kickoff for the unit, and Then that ninth grade group they went to Coos Bay to visit the Cultural and Language Revitalization Center. I'm gonna mess up what the name of the space was, but they spent a full day down there learning together, and it's just an exciting project that's taking shape on our campus. I don't know. Dr. Kate also engages in that countywide community of practice that teachers across the county are sharing their expertise and as campuses. So
we just lost you a little bit there. You froze up, and so we missed the last 10 seconds.
You were doing so good there, Sue.
Oh, it'd been a while. So, they engaging in that community of practice, learning, sharing their experiences, and then the goal is to become leaders and spread that into their each member's district, schools and districts. So she's engaging in that, and I know the people who lead that work, and I think they're wonderful. And so I think it's a cool opportunity to kind of see the ESD land and the Mapleton land merge. So
what does communities of practice literally mean?
Yeah, so what's the best way to explain that? Like job alike folks, although this is across K-12, so it's teachers, but any grade level, coming together to learn through practice. And so they have regular meetings. There's some expertise brought into the group, but then the premise is that they're trying new things and then coming back to report on it and get help from the community and share their learning across the community. And so it's designed in ways that bring just to connect it to something else. We often hear, like, especially for our elementary teachers, like we're on an island, we're one teacher, and so ways to connect our teachers to others working on similar things in schools and districts across the county, many of which are small and rural, and connect teachers to each other is kind of the thought behind communities of practice.
And so the language labeling is under the auspices of that? It's
not. So Dr. Kate's been able to bring, that was a grant that she pursued locally. It was a unit that she took a class this last summer through the U of O anyway, it was advertised somewhere, and I kind of shared it out to staff, and she said, I'd like to attend that, and got inspired through that class and came up with this project, connected with Enna Helms, and they designed it together and then put in for a grant from one of the local banks. I'm going to forget which bank grant that is. And we're awarded that grant and are working on this project. But then she's able to bring that experience to the community of practice and share her expertise, and hopefully it will spread to other places as well. So I'm excited to see how that spreads.
Thank you. Hey, Mary, good to see you.
Hi, I'm sorry for my late attendance.
We'll get you for this. Don't worry.
I'm sure you will. Did I get voluntold? Am I in charge of a bunch of projects now?
Yeah, you are the lead in several projects.
Bring it on.
State testing. No.
Stop. You're not funny.
Okay. Well, let's see. We have. I guess we can go back up since Mary is here now, and we can do some action items, and then we'll come back down and finish up with our discussion items. The consent agenda is the payroll check register, the accounts payable check register, and prior month's minutes. And I will entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
I second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All right, unanimous. I actually didn't even ask. if there was any discussion, but I'm going to assume there was no discussion.
No, thanks to Jaren sending it out early, I was able to get some eyes on everything. So I'm all good.
Fantastic. All right, so now let's go to our action items, and we have the ESD plan of service. We are going to vote on that. Is there anything you want to share further, Sue?
No. I think, yeah, they, last, it's very similar to years prior. And there's nothing really that stands out to me as, something different that we need to take note of.
All right. If there's no more, if there's no questions for Sue, I will entertain a motion to accept the ESD plan of service.
I move that we accept the LESD plan of service, Lean ESD plan of service.
I second that.
Moved and seconded. No discussion? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. That passes unanimously. Thank you so much.
It took me like 3 tries to read through the whole thing though. Like I opened it multiple times and I got some way through it. It took me forever to get through it. So I'm glad it's approved.
Yeah, me too.
Moving on.
Comes with the territory, Mary, you lucky gal.
I know.
So the board guiding beliefs and values statement, which I don't see in the packet, nor do I see it here. Can we share it on the screen? Jaren, do we have it available?
Let me see.
Sorry, I thought that was shared. Mary Ellen, you might be the fastest at getting it, but I'll erase you here.
I forgot headphones, so if you hear talking in the background, it's just there's a rehearsal happening like 3 rooms over, but they're very loud.
I don't know. I don't see a cleaned up copy on our Google Drive, do we? Oh, wait.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I can see the one with all the edits.
Because Annie and Mizu are not here, I don't think it'll disrupt much if we put this onto the March meeting.
I think that's fine.
It would be good to have a cleaned up version and that it's sent out to all of us to review again before we vote.
Is that on one of us to clean it up? Because I too can only see the one with the edits. So it's.
I'll go through and accept the changes and so that there'll be a clean copy in the Google Drive then, if that's good.
That's
and
great.
then and then I'll send it. I mean, I think Jaren has access to our Google Drive, but I can send it a link to Jaren anyway, so I can do that.
Thank you, Mary Ellen.
Of course.
Great. Okay, let's see. Let's move back down to superintendent evaluation. The board met this morning. We did our due diligence, and Sue and I are meeting tomorrow to go over the evaluation. Thank you, board, for your time and effort on that one.
No, good job, Michelle. It was a great discussion. And you did a great job facilitating. So
Thanks.
thank you.
I second that. I tried to put that in my email when I sent you my notes. It was just a really smooth and well-run meeting, and I felt like everybody was able to contribute in a meaningful way, and it was very safe and all the things. So
yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
Well, you all make the job of chair easy. I can just say that. And I have sat on this board long enough to know that it's not always so. So I just give thanks for a very functional group of people to work with. You have my ultimate respect and gratitude. Absolutely.
Michelle, just a quick question. Have we ever shared what those kind of categories indicators are with the public, and should we put that tool somewhere where it's public? Do we need to?
I mean, why not? We never have. I don't think it's required of us, but that doesn't mean it's not a good idea. And I think to have those meters, without our notes, yes, I think that's an excellent idea. How do other board members feel?
I feel like it could live like on our website under the board tab. I feel like that's fine.
I agree. I mean, it's off of OSBA's website, so I don't think it's super secret anyway, but it would be easier for our people to find it if it was linked on our website, certainly.
Exactly. I think that's a great idea, Sue. Thanks. So, Jaren, if you can get that up, that'd be slick.
Did we end up adding the just kind of the definitions, the glossary, as it were, to the end of that? Or if we put it on our website, will we have that? Because that's one of those places where that's why we wanted to do that, right? So if somebody that when they were like, what do they mean by equity? Did we agree on those definitions and get that added, or did that not happen yet?
I'm going to say it didn't happen yet. I sent you and I were a team, Mary.
Yeah, we got ours done, Michelle.
It's like we got it done, but I don't know if it got out of your inbox because I sent you my comments and changes, and I think I put it in your ball court.
I think that we were all supposed to. I don't. If I remember, I don't remember what the next step was. I think the only step that it was let's a few of us took on each one, and let's hone down on a definition. So you and I honed down on a definition. You might have put it back in the ball back in my court, but there was nothing else. There was no action item after that for me. So I don't know what the next step was.
Well,
we're going to discuss at a meeting, and I think the meeting just got overtaken with other topics, and we never kind of circled back, is what I remember.
Perfect. Okay, so maybe that just gets added to, because that piece of it doesn't need to be done in any sort of special meeting, so we can just add that to March also.
Yeah, March is getting fat though, isn't it, Sue?
It hopefully wouldn't take very long if we've already,
out
But I still feel like in the meantime we could still put or do you not want to put the OSBA superintendent, link that on our website, and just know that there's a second piece of it coming.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, let's get it up there. I think that's awesome. And then we can add that piece of it, because it just triggered that thought, just because that's exactly the type of place where someone clicked on it, they might have a question about.
Sure. Yep.
So I sent it back to you, Mary. Is it sitting in your inbox? It's not a Google Doc. It was you and I having a conversation, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just an email.
Right. So we need to get create a Google Doc that has that. And then you and Mary Ellen, you and Mizu and Annie work together, or what happened?
You're muted.
Yeah, Andrea and I worked together on our word, and we were not quite as productive as the two of you, and then Mizu, I think we gave a pass to, because she had done some of the other.
She already did one. She already did the one, and we already agreed to that one. So it was just those other two.
Yeah.
So so maybe if we could get Mizu, so maybe me or someone else. I'm happy to do that since I have Michelle's, or like maybe that document could be created, and then we could have the three added. And then
fantastic. So you want to do that, Mary? You can make.
Yeah, but I will need whatever you and Andrea came up with.
Okay.
If they haven't come up with it yet,
I will touch base with Andrea.
Okay.
And we will do our part. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, and I'll get Mizu's, and then Michelle, I have I had mine, and then you. I love the edits you made, and so I think ours is good.
Great.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Okay. I'll create that.
Whenever you wrap it up, serve it up to me and say, put this on the site, and then I know what to put on the site.
Sounds like a plan, Jaren. Thank you. I need to write this down. No, forget.
So the superintendent evaluation can go on the site pronto, right now. And then this will happen after we meet at the March board meeting, and then that can go up. The glossary, yes. All right, cool. Takes a village. Okay,
Mary Ellen's-
Mary
Mary
Ellen's gonna do that. Great. Thanks, Mary Ellen. Budget committee members. So are all of these ponied up for this year? Have they been reached out to as of yet? Sue or
I'm going to defer to Jaren just a little bit on that. Jaren, have you?
No, they haven't. Usually seems like you guys kind of divvy them up and say, hey, I'll check with so and so.
Okay, I'll check with Will.
I can check with Sharon Schrank.
And
Mary's
you get all the rest of them, Mary, because you were late tonight.
I don't know these people. Okay.
That's okay. I think actually I can contact Kathy West. Tim works with Mizu. I'm sure she can talk to and I think I don't know who knows Nancy Miranda. Who knows Nancy?
I can reach out to Nancy. I kind of know her.
Fantastic. All right. Okay.
Tim just texted me and said he can do budget committee, so I took care of that one for you.
Thank you. Okay, fantastic. Public comment on items not on the agenda. Have there been any comments that have come in during the meeting, Jaren?
No.
No. Okay, comments from the board. Any comments? Well, I ran across an article about House Bill 2690, which is going to require school districts to have a starting salary of $60,000 for their, that's a starting salary for their staff, their teachers. And I want to know more about this. I mean, I, for one, have always felt that teachers are underpaid. I'm also a realist, and I live in this world where money has seemingly been hard to come by, and especially with our declining enrollment, which is, I guess, static now, but we don't have a lot of money. I want to know what happens if this passes. Is it possible for us to do something like this? I mean, it seems like completely unrealistic. So I'm just curious if maybe we can do some investigating about this. How does it apply to Mapleton?
My understanding is it applies, but I will say the business manager group is collecting data. I don't know if you filled out her survey about how much this would cost each district across the state, and then I know they're lobbying to let the legislatures know like what the cost of it is. I think everybody supports it. But if it's not going to be funded, it's a problem. So
there is a district doing it.
Yeah, I was going to jump in there. When
really quick, I was trying to Google it. What is it called again?
House Bill 2690.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's currently in legislative session, and I believe there's connections to it that say any teacher teaching special education students, which ultimately ends up every teacher in or close to every teacher in districts. In most cases, the conversations I've been part of have been like, that'd be awesome, and that's really expensive. Is it possible? And kind of saying like the assumption of it wouldn't be affordable. And then today I actually, Michelle, to your point that a district is doing this, where was it? Baker. I believe it's Baker School District. And I actually know their superintendent. It's a first year. She is a first year superintendent, who I know very well and was a student success liaison with over the last couple of years. And so she's detail oriented, does things. Baker just approved doing this, and they cut their scale, the range. They, instead of spreading it all the way across, they went to a 4 scale, or a 4-step scale. And she's convinced. I mean, the district approved it and supported through. I also want to learn more about this. I took an article and sent it to Jaron today and said, is this crazy? And we're starting those conversations, just to say like what's possible. So let's learn more together.
Baker has a large virtual school in their district, which I don't know how they split the money up, but
I'll follow up and ask. Virtual school. Yeah,
I mean, initially, it just sounds like if the legislature tells us that we must do this, and it's an unfunded mandate, it sounds like it really could bankrupt schools. That's what it. While its intent is spot on, retaining teachers, blah blah blah, all the things, respecting certified staff. It just, I'm having a hard time believing that a district like ours would be able to pull something like this off. I would love to be told I'm wrong.
And I'll say, I don't know that salaries should ever be legislatively mandated. Like, I'm in that camp, probably. That seems like overreach. And I think salaries should be explored. And if we can afford to pay teachers, or if some districts can figure out how to pay teachers they're worth, it's worth learning more.
Mm-hmm.
And like Sue said, she had me take a look at it, and reading the article, well, so a couple of things to chip in on it. They figure it's going to cost, right now Baker City has 12 million in savings, ending fund balance, if I remember right. But yeah, and they figure it's going to cost them 2.3 million next year. And so, yeah.
So they'll be able to do it for 5 years and then they'll be broke.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what you're doing for raises between now and then, if you just say, okay, well, here's where we're at, and we're going to stay here until we can afford it. And so, yeah, it's a 5-year plan. They said that gives them, that amount is about 20%, of their budget, 20% savings over their full budget. And they said that they think 7.5% for 10% is good, which, I mean, a couple of years going to eat into that amount pretty quick. So we'll see what the legislators do. And for state mandating salaries, it's funny you say that, Sue, because coming from Idaho, that's how Idaho used to be. It used to have a full salary schedule from the legislators. They'd say, your bachelor, BA 24, 1 through 15 years, and this is how much we're going to pay for that person. And then they shifted over to a career ladder, which shrank all those things down, stuff that, yeah, once again, I mean, so those were the minimums. Well, that very bottom one was the minimum pay, and then districts had leeway on what they paid, and so then you ended up with the districts with the supplementals that could pay more, whereas our district didn't have it, and so neighboring ones would pay more than us because they had the supplemental levies.
Yeah, well, let's find out what we can find out. I can imagine our community would not love the state telling us what to do. I know that local control is kind of I mean, we've already
Thing in
lost,
Oregon.
already lost so much of it as it is with the basic school fund. So I'm curious. And I'm also, we will be bargaining this year. That is another reality. So yeah, next month we can have a more fleshed out conversation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Report back.
All right. Anything else for the good of the order? Because I think it's time to entertain an adjournment motion.
No one
I
wants
move we
to.
adjourn.
Oh,
Right, is there a second on that one?
I will second that.
All right. Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you all so much for a fruitful February board meeting, and we'll see you all next month.
Thank you, everybody.
Betty,
Thanks.
feel better, Sue.
Yeah, thank